the return of a creative pro user group, and the importance of in-person connections. This is MacVoices. Today's MacVoices is supported by Rogue Amoeba. Visit them at macaudio.com right now to take 20% off purchases through September. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is a really, really great show for me because I get to welcome back not only an old friend, but also to welcome back an activity, I guess is the best word to describe it, that's been missing for a little while. First off, Mr. Mike Horton is here. Mike, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming.
How great it is to see you. I mean, it's been, 2 or 3 years or something like that since, we've corresponded a couple of times, but we haven't done this forever. And so it's always an honor and it's always fun. And it's just, and you look great. And you still have the same background with all that cool stuff in there.
Some things don't change, Mike, you know. But we're here not to talk about how great we look, because we both look great, but we're talking about the return of the Los Angeles Creative Pro User Group that Mike heads up. And, Mike, I know you all have been on hiatus, for obvious reasons, the pandemic, of course. You're bringing it back now, and I'm anxious to hear kind of why you decided that this is the time to do it and what the challenges have been.
Yeah, well, the theater that we met in, which is the Gallery Theater in Hollywood, that had shut down because of the pandemic, and it just reopened in August. And I met with the people there in August, and they were not exactly ready to open, but yet they were going to open. And I figured, well, maybe I'll wait a little while to see if they have a couple of events there, see how it works out, and if all the technical stuff is going to be okay. And so far, they've had a few events, and so far everything has gone well. And so I decided, well, September should be the right month to start this thing up again. And I've been talking about starting it up again, but I couldn't start it up again until this theater reopened. And I didn't want to meet in the back room of Denny's or something like that. It just wasn't, it wasn't fair to all the filmmakers who want to show their stuff. And the place that we've been meeting for the last 20 years is the best venue. And without it, I really just don't want to hold the meeting. So now it's open again. And I'm still a little nervous about doing the meet, because I don't know if all the technical issues have been worked out or not, but I'm going to find out that day. I can't really get in before, but we'll see. A lot of the same technical crew will be there. And but anyway, that's the reason. So I'm going to be going back to the schedule, fourth Wednesday of every month, starting this month, and we'll just see how it goes. And so far, I've sent out the notice that we're starting up again, and a lot of people are very happy about that. And it's going to be an in-person event, a networking event, because that's what we've always been. And it means I don't like the online Zoom things, and I didn't do any of it during in the shutdown. It's just, this isn't what LACPUG is all about. It's all about networking. It's all about face-to-face networking. Now, is it safe? Well, I think that's going to depend on the person. In this particular case, masks are going to be required indoors. Proof of vaccination are going to be required. However, you can go outside and meet and greet the people there, or you can meet and greet the people with your masks on, and you'll have a name tag. We'll put that kind of thing on. Will it work? I don't know. I don't know how comfortable people are going to feel. I'm going to learn a lot from this meeting coming up, and we're going to try to be as safe as we can for everybody. And but it's sort of up to everybody's comfortability level whether they get the most out of this event, and I think they will. People want to get out of the house. I know that, and I do too. And we just want to do it in the safest way possible. And I think we're going to have a happy medium here. It will be an audience of people in masks, But eventually, hopefully, one of these days, we'll be able to see each other's faces and give each other a hug. And because it's just really, really important to be able to shake somebody's hand and say, hi, my name is, and to meet people. And networking in the entertainment industry is probably the most important thing you can do. And can't tell you from the last 20 years how many people have gotten work just by going to these kinds of meetings and meeting the people that they need to meet. So, you can do it on Zoom, but it just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for a lot of people, and it's just not the same thing.
So you have mask requirements in place, vaccination requirements?
Yeah, there's vaccination requirements. This is the city of LA, which owns the city and which owns the theater, and they require the vaccination requirement, and they require the masks. So I probably would have just did the mask thing, but I think it makes people feel a little bit more safe with the vaccination requirements too. But anyway, there's nothing I can do about that. That's what they want, and being a city-run facility, they always err on the side of caution because they're always worried about lawsuits and things like that.
Yeah,
Nobody can sue me because I don't got the money. So.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch, though. I think depending on where you are, different parts of the country seem to have different attitudes right now about as we are
since day one, don't you think?
But I mean, even now, with people having a lot more vaccinations, or a lot, at least in theory, a higher percentage of the population is vaccinated. Here in Pennsylvania, I don't see nearly as many masks. I still see some, but I don't see nearly as many masks. And yet, I've gone to several events, different places that still had the requirements in place. You obviously have to do it because of the venue. Other places, I think, have had to do it because of the venue, or some just decided, hey, we're just not going to take any chances. And as you said, err on the side of caution.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to in California, being the very liberal state, and but if you go to a grocery store, the majority of people wearing masks are older. There's still a lot of people wearing masks. It's not required, but there's still a lot of people wearing them. Same thing for in any particular store that you go into. Movie theaters, not required, but there's still a lot of people that wear a mask. It probably became habit for some, but for the most part, I think it's older people that tend to still wear them in a crowded situation, which is probably a good idea since they're the ones who are most immune compromised. But I've been lucky. I haven't had anything, but I never do. So but I'm fully waxed, and I wear the mask every place I pretty much go to. And so this is not a big deal to me, but it is a big deal to a lot of people, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But they can't come. They don't wear a mask. Simple as that.
Well, so with the big return, what are you going to do as far as programming? Are you? I mean, it's obviously going to be a welcome back kind of thing, but I know you don't just rely on that.
You know what? It's not really going to be a big welcome back thing. It's going to be a good agenda. I mean, it's going to be a really good show. Very similar to what I've done in the past. I'm not really changing anything until I feel like I have to. But it'll be very familiar to people who have been there before. And it'll be a very good show for the people who have never been there before, never heard of us, or heard of us, but have never been to a LACPUG meet, but have always wanted to go. Because I'm getting a lot of people saying, "Oh my God, this is great! I've always wanted to go to a LACPUG meet. I thought you guys were dead, and now they get their chance." But we got a really good show. I mean, beginning with the president of the American Cinema Editors and Academy Award nominee Kevin Tent is going to talk about that prestigious organization, and that's a real coup to get this guy. He's done all of Alexander Payne's movies, and so if you're a cinephile, you know who he is. And he's got a movie coming out here just pretty soon. But he's going to talk about the American cinema editors. And then we also have Amisha Tenenbaum, who's going to talk about a new education tool to learn editing. And this is for teachers and for students. If you want to, you want to learn editing, you can use this program called Edit Mentor. If you're a teacher and want to teach your students, it is called the same thing, Edit Mentor. It's amazing. I mean, it's just really amazing. I mean, after this, go to the website and get an idea what this whole thing is about. And then, of course, because of the pandemic and because so many people are working at home, and that includes editors, they never, we're going to be talking about cloud stuff and cloud editing, Frame.io, and also camera to cloud, where you can take your camera and go and shoot your movie, goes straight to the cloud, and you're immediately edited. All those files are up there, and so that's now been bought out by Adobe. And so they're going to be there. And then plus we got the raffle, as everybody loves, and just that opportunity to meet each other. And that's the biggest thing about LACPUG, is the chance to meet each other. And even if you have to do it with the mask, I think it's worth it.
Yeah. Well, as you said, it's time for us all to figure out a way to get back on the horse. Maybe.
Yeah, it is. It's that balance. But again, everybody has their own comfort level. And there's going to be a lot of people who are just not going to go out of the house. And I don't think that's the right approach. But it depends on your particular health too. But the entertainment business, just like most businesses, requires you to meet people. And as much as you and I are friends and have shared experiences virtually, those couple of times that we see each other in person, that's what cemented our relationship, I think, more than anything.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the online interactions because I think that it adds a lot of flexibility, but
yeah,
it's not an absolute replacement. It's a supplement, or the in-person stuff is a supplement to the virtual. I don't know which way it goes, but I feel like more and more you have to have both as opposed to just one.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's been saying, can't you just stream the show and we can interact virtually and in person? And go, well, the idea is to get as many people as you can in the theater, and if I stream the show, nobody's going to show up. So, and plus the theater costs me a lot of money, and so how do I do that? Well, you can charge people to get online. Well, most of the people who have these, do these interactive Zoom things, it's free. And so if I start charging you the same as I charge you to get into the theater, you're not going to do it. So how do I supplement and make it affordable? How can I make a profit? Or, I don't know. I have to charge money both ways. And I don't think anybody would, or very many people would actually pay this measly amount of money, $5, to just get online and watch us interact in the theater. And you're going to learn something for sure, but it's still, I don't know, we've never, even with the super meets and everything, we never really live streamed, tried it a couple of times. It added just such a technical element to the thing that half the time it worked or didn't work. And, it was real stressful. Now it's just so easy you could do it, but, anyway, I'm not live streaming this one.
Yeah.
If I get talked into it, I might do it in the future. But I agree with you. Yeah, it is a good supplement. But I'm just, pretty dead set on the in-person networking thing.
Well, and I think that's another thing that we're struggling with in this evolution. That it's great for presentations. It's even great for one-on-one like we're doing now. But you start, if we added 5 or 6 people in here that one or both of us didn't know, then how do you make those connections? I mean, Zoom has tried the breakout rooms, which are not bad. I've made a couple of good connections there, but they're kind of random, and you don't always go based on, what T-shirt someone's wearing or,
Yeah,
what you overheard them talking about to someone else. So it's a challenge and trying to, I admire you so much for trying to bring it back. I want to see it come back because
I do
LACPUG has
too.
always been, such a great contributor in so many ways to so many things.
Yeah, I do too, and it's going to be I'll learn a lot this month.
Today's Mac Voices is supported by Rogue Amoeba. If you're working with audio on your Mac, you need Rogue Amoeba's software. Yes, it's hard to believe, but Rogue Amoeba is celebrating their 20th anniversary. 2 full decades making amazing audio apps for the Mac. If you're a podcaster, musician, video producer, or just someone who just listens to audio on your Mac, Rogue Amoeba can help make your life better. Whatever you want to do with audio, it's a very good bet they have a tool to help you. I find 20 years extra hard to believe since I've been using Rogue Amoeba software since before MacVoices became a thing. When podcasting arrived, most of us turned to Rogue Amoeba to help us do what we needed to do. With Audio Hijack, you can record any audio. Loopback gives you extremely powerful audio routing without needing cables or mixers. And SoundSource is the sound control that should be built into macOS. Rogue Amoeba doesn't run consistent gimmicky sales or discounts. They charge fair prices all the time. But in celebration of their anniversary, they're making an exception. For a limited time, to celebrate their 20 years in business, you can get 20% off any purchase from Rogue Amoeba. You don't need any coupon codes or special URLs. Just visit macaudio.com before the end of September to save 20% on anything they make. Download free trials, then buy online to receive the discounted price. Congratulations to Rogue Amoeba on 20 great years. Visit them at macaudio.com right now. And thanks to Rogue Amoeba for all their support of MacVoices over the years.
I mean, right now registrations are fairly low compared to, past shows, and I kind of suspected that. I didn't expect all of a sudden, oh my God, they're back. Let's, I'll sell out in 1 hour kind of thing. That's not the case yet. I've got 2 weeks to go, and I'm working hard to fill the seats. But even on this show, I can only fill half the theater, and just to keep everybody somewhat socially distanced, so everybody isn't on top of each other. I don't have to, but I just think that's a safe way to go, at least for this. So I only have a limited amount of seats, but right now I think and I haven't heard, feedback. All I've heard is, "Oh my God, I'm glad you're back," but I haven't heard, "Oh, I would love to go, but I just don't feel comfortable." I haven't heard that from anybody.
Well, that's good.
But it's also the marketing is a little bit more difficult because so many people thought we were gone, and they're not paying attention. So now I got to get them back into the habit of, yes, we still exist, and I get in that habit of networking again, even though they feel somewhat less comfortable. And it is, networking is a practice. It's an art. It is something that you need to do over and over and over again in order to be good at it. Because everybody's socially awkward. And it's really hard to meet and talk to strangers, but boy, if you're good at it, you can change your life and certainly change the lives of others. It's but you gotta practice. You got to do it over and over and over again. You got to become that. You become an actor, become another persona. It's you're good at it because you practice. And you go to events like this, and I know the last couple of years it's harder for you probably to start up again. But that muscle memory I don't know. Does it stay with you?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it's like anything else. It's with or without the pandemic. The first interview of the show or the event or whatever, you always feel a little bit, apprehensive might be the best way. But once you shake somebody's hand and say, "Hey, would you like to talk about this?" Then it all just sort of falls into place.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens. I'd like to think that's what happens with most performers. There's I've heard so many performers say that if they're not nervous,
everything's anxiety inducing. It's just
yeah. But if you don't care, then there's no anxiety. And
right.
so, then that's the day that you'll hang it up. That if I don't feel that anxiety getting started, then I clearly don't care, and I'm not going to do a good job.
Yeah.
So, but I am intrigued because at NAB this year I talked to several different people who talked about online editing, and I love the fact that that's one of the things you're starting up LACPUG again with. How do you feel about it? Is it the next thing? Is it the next way that we're all going to edit things?
If you take an informal poll of editors who have been often or most of them forced to work from home, they all, just about 90% of them, love it because they don't have to get in their car and drive 60 miles to Culver City or someplace when they live out in Santa Clarita or anything like that. And they absolutely adore it. I mean, there's all these collaboration tools like Frame.io and all these things that people are using. Blackmagic has solutions. Everybody has a solution, and they're all really good, and everybody loves it. There are times when you miss your compadres and you want to be together, but for the most part, these people have been forced to work from home, and they've made the best of it, and they love it. And so, and I mean, who wouldn't if you work in Los Angeles where you have to commute every day? You don't have to commute anymore. You can do it from your home. And I don't, some of the studios are making people come back, but for the most part, people are still working from home, and it's working well. And whether it stays that way forever, I don't know. But pretty much everything is being done on the cloud now, and there's all sorts of solutions to do it. And it's especially affordable and good for indie filmmakers who don't have to collaborate together. They can collaborate from their various kitchens for the most part, because that's where they're doing it. They're making movies from their kitchens, and you got people all over the world collaborating. You got somebody in Los Angeles, somebody in Switzerland, somebody in this, and they're all just sitting there with their laptops on their kitchen table and making a movie. And that's awesome. There's nothing better than that.
Well, it is awesome. And as we record this, with any luck, the iPhone 14s will start to be delivered tomorrow. So it's just even more powerful tools in our hands, with each iteration of that.
I'm finally upgraded, and I ordered my iPhone 14 primarily for the camera. I had I have an old iPhone it's about 4 years old, and it was time. And they didn't up the price, so I go, geez, you might as well do it. And I was going to get a refurbished 13. I go, why? They're all the same price. So I got myself a 14, and should be here in a couple of weeks. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'll be able to take a beautiful picture of you.
Let's not break the iPhone right after you get it, Mike. Come on.
No, from what I've read, it's a darn nice phone, especially the camera.
Yeah. I did want to circle back to one thing though, and I'm kind of curious how you're handling it. And that is, you said that you can keep people socially distanced. You're only filling half the seats. Are you requiring them to be socially distanced?
No, they can sit together. Okay. But it just makes it easier if they feel more comfortable to. No, that's not one of the requirements. This is something I just felt, at least the first time out. I'm going to get a lot of feedback to see what works and what doesn't. And but I think in this case, people don't have to sit next to each other. And most people don't sit next to their strangers anyway. They always sit a couple of seats over, just like going to a movie theater. Especially when you're picking out your seats online, there's somebody here. No, I want to be way over there on the aisle. You don't want to sit next to somebody. And so I'm giving them an easier opportunity. And it's probably good, too, because registrations are a bit low right now. But I sort of suspected that anyway. So it makes me work hard.
Yeah, more curious than anything, just because I've been to a couple events and some mandated it. I didn't know what the city of Los Angeles was requiring. But, it's interesting to watch people make some of those choices that, okay, I don't feel the need to, so I'm not going to. And if it's not mandated, then why? So
Yeah, again, I'm erring a little bit on the side of caution, just to make people feel comfortable. And for the most part, especially in liberal California in the entertainment business, I'm not going to be worrying about the people who are anti-vax and all this other stuff and making a scene and all that kind of. It's just not most of the people that I know, and most of the people in the community that I know. And the ones who are that are not going to show up, but they're not going to make a big scene while they're there. So I'm not worried about that sort of thing. But to make some of the people who are maybe a little bit uncomfortable, yeah, it's not going to be a full house. It's going to be half house. And if that makes you feel a little bit more comfortable, then great. And if the feedback is positive, well, I feel comfortable over the full house. Well, then maybe I'll do it if I get a show that's going to attract a full house. I don't know. But in this case, first time out, we'll see what works and what doesn't. And I hope it's, I hope that my hope is that everybody gets into the theater, they see a really good show, and during the break they go upstairs and go outside and feel comfortable enough to take their mask off and talk to each other. Before they would just go into the lobby and do that. But now you can just walk upstairs and just go out. It's not a big deal. It takes them a minute and a half to get up there. And that's what I'm hoping people do. I'm hoping they don't just stay there in the theater with their mask on. I hope they get up and mingle. They can still mingle with their masks on, but I don't know. They'll have a name tag, which we never had before. It was a face. But now it's going to be a name tag with a mask. I'm making a big deal about these masks, but that's what's going to happen here, because that's what you're required to do.
Well, with the dynamics of the situation and the kind of meeting you've always run up to this point, yeah, it probably is a big deal. And I would like to think that people, especially your people, will understand that and appreciate, and especially because it's LA and it's mandated, that these are not your choices. I mean, I think they're responsible choices. Don't misunderstand, but they're not your choices.
I would have done it anyway, and but this is the city of LA owns the facility, and that's what they want. I mean, even in the theaters, if you go to a theater, not movie theater, but see a play, there's a mandate for masks, and not for vaccines so much, but a mandate for masks. So even though masks aren't required in most of the venues, there's still those few places that they still require them. And that's not even a city-run facility. So,
yeah. So give us all the specifics about the date, time, exactly the location, and is there any cost to attend?
No, there's no cost to register, but when you get there, we ask for a $5 donation to help with the cost of the theater. And you go to LACPUG.org, LAFCPUG.org, and click on next meeting, and that's going to where you're going to click on the button to take you to the Eventbrite place to register. But yeah, $5. Gets you a really damn good show. That's what we've charged when we first started back in 2000. We started charging $5, and we've never changed it. And I'm not about to change it because of inflation. I'll be looking for more sponsors to offset the costs, because the costs are much more now because of inflation. But I didn't want to hit people over the head with more costs, even if it's $5. Can they afford $10? Yeah, of course they could. I just didn't want to do that. You're hit over the head every day with another price increase, and I just didn't want to, do that to people. I don't think they deserve it yet. if I can't find any more sponsors, then I'll have no other choice. But right now, Black Magic is sponsoring us, and thank God for them. And but with the increase in the theaters prices and things, I'm just going to have to find a little bit more, and I think I can. It's people know it's a good value. You learn a lot when you go to a LACPUG meeting, and then of course the idea of meeting people, which is what the whole thing is all about. So anyway, you go to lacpug.org. That's LAFCPUG.org. Click on next meeting. That'll take you to the registration page. And then it's on September 28th at the Gallery Theater in East Hollywood, and which is an absolutely gorgeous venue. It's a 300-seat theater with a big 20-foot screen. We have beautiful digital equipment, and you get some of the finest people in the entertainment business showing up, and a lot of good people that you need to meet. And they're going to be showing up because I've seen the registrations so far. So it's right now it's just one of the few opportunities you have for networking, and so take advantage of it if you're in the entertainment industry, in the post-production business. You just don't get these opportunities very often, so we're back getting them to you, so take advantage.
Yeah, definitely. And I've never been to one of your events, whether it was at NAB or a LAFCPUG, where I didn't learn something, where I didn't meet somebody, and I'm not even in your business in the strictest sense, but you always come away with something. So $5 is nothing for that kind of opportunity.
Yeah, we do charge you for your raffle tickets, $2.
Yeah, I mean, but your raffles are pretty darn good. Yeah, it's not like it's a local burger joint. Let's put it that way.
No, it's a pretty good deal. So even if you don't learn something, you might go home with a prize. So, but you'll learn something. You can't help but learn something. So, I'm hoping we get that half a house and everybody has a good time, and we get back into the swing of things. But it'll all depend on people, and it's going to take a while. And I know that. So, and I'm working hard to make sure that we find the best show in the most safe way that people like, and it still will work just like it did in the old days. And I have no fear that it will. It will not work. It did before, and it will now. So it's.
Well, I'm just delighted that you're bringing it back. I think it's great.
It meant the world to me that you asked me on, because and that you said in the email that you were delighted, and I've gotten a few other emails from people saying the same thing, and it makes me feel good. And so I'll let you know how this one goes, and if you have me back on, I'll tell you what I learned and what needs to be changed, if anything. And that's I don't know. I'm really looking forward to this. It's almost nostalgic because it's been so long.
It's interesting. First of all, I'd love to have you back to find out what you've learned, because I think that you can be a blueprint for some other groups out there who maybe aren't as ambitious as yours. But because the pandemic took out a lot of user groups.
Oh, sure.
They
got a lot of businesses.
Exactly. And so, the lessons learned from someone like you that's running your kind of operation, I think would be very valuable. So please definitely come back after the smoke clears and everything. Yeah. Love to have you back.
After the smoke clears.
Yeah. Hopefully that was a euphemism, Mike. I hope
but we'll see.
Yeah. So folks, if you're in Los Angeles or in the area, or you're interested in this kind of thing, make the trip. Go to the website. I'll have a link in the show notes, and definitely go. And by the way, even if you can't go, if you have friends in that area, spread the word, because we need to get people there, get them engaged, and get these folks back up and running the way that it should be.
Thanks,
so, Mike,
Chuck.
On that basis, I will talk to you after the meeting, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, I hope so.
All right. Good luck.
Bye.
Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Mac Voices. We'll be back with more soon. And as always, thanks for watching.
Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.